welcome to Just Siri. It's Tuesday, and today we're diving into a critical issue that affects every Nigerian: food adulteration. The food we eat should nourish us, but what happens when harmful substances find their way onto our plates? From chemicals in staple foods like fufu to unsafe preservatives in everyday products, food adulteration is a silent crisis that poses serious health risks. A recent report into things like detergent, soda soap, potash, and in some cases bleach being added to the process for making fufu has raised serious concerns. We'll get into that in just a bit. But first, let's talk Japa.
Talking Japa, Abike Dabiri-Erewa, the chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, has addressed the challenges faced by some Nigerians who relocate abroad. In a tweet, she highlighted that many Nigerians living overseas have contacted NiDCOM, expressing feelings of regret and depression. This statement was made in response to a UK-based lawyer, Dele Olawale, who noted the increasing difficulties within the UK immigration environment and advised Nigerians to thoroughly consider their decisions before relocating. Now, Dabiri-Erewa in her tweet emphasized the importance of thoughtful decision-making, suggesting that the allure of better opportunities abroad may not always align with reality. She also concluded by urging Nigerians to carefully evaluate their choices before moving abroad.
This is a lot. Reactions.
Okay, let's take reactions. Let's take reactions before we talk about this.
Oh my God.
This person says, you have not sat down to ask why your countrymen and women are running away from their country. If you sit and think for a minute, you'll arrive at the answer, but you wouldn't think. Wow. I'll even be the last person to advise any married man to bring his wife with kids to abroad. The rate of broken marriages and depression on both genders are getting worse every day. If you can use your position to set up seminar to orientate all this Japa syndrome on this matter, ma.
Okay.
With all due respect. Yes, it's greener on the other side, but livelihood in Nigeria is hellish. Did it mean it's not greener? I earned 171K for the last 5 years. Transportation to and fro work was less than 500. Now it's almost 1,500. Rent was 400. Now it's 800. Not to talk of feeding and children's fees. Beer was 500. Now it's 1,500.
Beer is not a necessity. Talk about what really? It's not a necessity.
Grass is not always greener. Oh yeah, tell us the color of grass in Nigeria. Green grass. If you like, believe nonsense these people are saying while they keep their family members and properties in the abroad. He who has ears, let them hear words of wisdom and advice. Myself, that I've been in the UK for well over 30 years, is not as greener as you people are thinking. I'm investing massively in Nigeria. The reason is simple. Nigeria has everything in place for you to strive and be successful legitimately.
Talking from abroad.
Absolutely. Many people chase greener pastures without realizing the challenges ahead. The key is to nurture opportunities where you are, rather than assuming success is guaranteed elsewhere.
I think really it's an interesting conversation, and I'd like to go back, if we can, to the guy that Abike Dabiri-Erewa was actually responding to, who listed a whole bunch of stuff: broken marriages, broken families, depression, regrets. And I think people just make it difficult. So many depressed people, many broken lives, many broken homes, many stranded families, and irreversible regret. And it's not to say don't come, but I think it's the way in which people are throwing everything at Japa, in the business you had, shutting it down. Even though, yes, we can agree, trying to run a business from abroad, even running in Nigeria, they're stealing right under your nose. Much less talk about the abroad. You sell your house, you sell your cars. You don't, you literally don't hold on to anything. And I think that's one of the things that makes it so difficult for so many people to come back, because they've cut everything every time.
Another thing when I say is that a lot of people just follow the bandwagon mentality. I know that things can be better for you if you migrate with sense. There are a lot of people that from here, they got jobs. A friend of mine, she went to school, and the company she was working here retained her. And she's working for the same company abroad. And that was what she was doing. One left a bank in Nigeria, she went to another bank there. But I know a lot of people too that just said, okay, I want to go to school. They borrowed money from banks, from microfinance, from
family, from friends,
and they just left. And you know that the immigration landscape, the laws, everything keeps changing in different countries. Because even them that are in the abroad, they are faced with new challenges with newer influx of other people from other countries. Of course, it will strain their resources. My sister that lives in England, that shall be there for like 20-something years, he tells me how more expensive things are compared to what used to be. So a lot of Nigerians that are really did you see one? I sent you the story too. That's in London. A house, the
rooms had like 6, 7, 8 immigrants.
Yeah,
I saw it.
They had like bunk beds in each room, like a 3-bedroom, had like 24 people meet. So they even made like that story. Tolu took many some months ago last year that they had built luxurious apartments under that bridge. I saw it with my eyes. I sent the story to Tolu in England, UK. So imagine the
enforcement officials had to come in.
Dire straits people are living in. When you can still be drinking your Gary,
so that's
with your banjo.
To be honest, it's not everybody that is drinking Gary, but I know this bandwagon. People feel they are impoverished. You have 30 million naira in your account. I think, was it Daily Momodu that said that thing?
Somebody said
you have 30 million naira in your account. You think you're poor. You are using the entire amount to relocate. And then you go and start from ground zero. You're literally red. I think it's that bandwagon that makes people feel like they're impoverished. Sometimes I hear the amount of money people use to Japa, and I'm like,
one of my friends, when they told me the exotic, and they were a family of 4, and they used like almost 100 million to go abroad.
Okay, so I understand that a lot of reasons make people leave or Japa.
Yeah.
Some people say they can't compromise their health, and health in Nigeria is zilch.
But
so
baby, sure you know that health, many of them, even this thing you said, I am not an advocate for don't
before
Japa.
you see
my own is make sure that you know what you're getting.
You do your research.
Before you even see
land.
Tatu, sorry.
I think the problem in Nigeria, each of us has identified it, is that we don't take the time to research, to think, to plan. We just move. Blessing said it, the bandwagon movement. We just carry our load and go. Some people have visas. I know a friend of a friend who traveled to the US. And I said, how did she travel? She traveled on a tourist visa. And she just left.
And she has not come back.
And she hasn't come back. So she can't be there legally. So
which makes her staying harder.
Exactly. But I don't know why we don't think about it. I said, I wouldn't move to a country where I have to be dodging the police. There's some things that
let me tell you. I had experiences when I was growing up. For a while, our status was up and somehow. And so me and my third sister, we had anxiety. Every knock on the door is immigration, because we're in that gray area for a bit. And then it's a lot. So you go from having to pay rent once a year to paying rent
every Monday.
There was a situation where we came home. I can still remember the place in Nashville, Tennessee, Turtle Creek, an apartment we lived. We came home and we found our neighbor's stuff on the lawn. And since that time, my sister has like almost PTSD when it comes to rent and money for accommodation. She's always has it been paid? We found their stuff on the lawn. We came back as school kids who came back around 2. By the time they returned at 4, there was nothing left. Everything had been picked off. People had to start from ground zero. And I also want to say this.
Because they didn't pay. They
didn't pay. All the ones that we like to be doing with that.
It's in Nigeria that you can write letter of dear landlord. I appreciate you
have not paid.
And the
county will come and evict you for them. And aside from that, I think one of the other things is this whole. It was you that says there's pressure. There are people that I talk to often. Sometimes when I talk to them, every other week I'm hearing somebody say, Tolu, why are you still here? Imagine constantly. So people will almost make you feel like I'm doing something bad for my daughter, for my family, that I'm still in Nigeria. And by the time you continue to just hear these things, and let's also not be, among our set of people, a lot of our friends have Japa. We feel like we're the only couple.
I can't even lie. You have to take an indices.
Somehow.
Another thing is, half of the time, different people, different realities. When they even go to this abroad. My own is that I would rather not look at all I have done. There are many times I traveled for like so many months in 2022 thinking that, okay, if I would want to stay here.
Let's try it. Let's see what it looks like.
But the thing is, if you are not legit in that country, it is as bad as not going at all. because your life will be hell. Many people tell you, don't worry, there are ways to do it. But when I went, I did ask a couple of people. I have seen people, I met people that have been in America for 18 years.
And
no
they're still not legal.
They're still not legal.
When I was in Belgium, I had a neighbor, he's late now, I had a neighbor who said he had been in the country for 8 years without documentation.
Wow.
And I looked at him, I'm like, he was from Rwanda. So 8 years, I looked at him like, the way I looked at him, he said, I know you're Nigerian and you wouldn't do that. I said, no, sir, I know who do. But he was comfortable doing that, and I asked him, how did you survive all this? So he was working under the counter. He would work, but he was paid under the counter.
Yeah.
So he couldn't even bargain or negotiate what he was earning because he wasn't legal.
They know he's undocumented.
So I completely agree with Lolo. Different people, different realities. I like to see Japa as moving jobs. There are some jobs that are not good. You have to look at the prospect. If you feel like, and sometimes you can, the truth is you can never be prepared enough. You get there and the reality is different. But you have to be able to plan, do I have what it takes to survive there? Do I have the skill set to survive there? And then what's the Japa equivalent of buyer's remorse? A lot of people suffer it because of the
and they don't know how to come back from it, because we're also not nice people. There are people who have come back, but what do? They don't come back to the main town they were in. They'll come back to a different area of Lagos. Then when eventually people run into them and hear that they've come back, guys, I just wanted to come and see something, investment. But for people to really come out and tell you they have buyer's remorse, it's difficult. And then the family aspect, we've talked about it so many times. We were talking about it just now. We were talking about it. How do people do with young children? Do you know what daycare is?
Yes.
And
as
much as you can't do
daycare,
do you know what happens if you have a latch, we used to call them latchkey kids. Kids who had the key to their homes and for like 3 or 5 hours they're home by themselves. We just spoke about the boy that his parents took him to Ghana. Yes. Why did they take him to Ghana? Because he was at risk of joining bad gangs. So you have more anxiety while we know that there are benefits to being there.
Me, I don't want you to suffer. Like I've been watching, maybe because I've been really watching. I've been seeing some Nigerian immigrants to Canada. These stories are not fine. I saw a girl that was being interviewed. She said she came here by herself. She has stopped going to school.
The two that had it seemed like they had some kind of.
Of course, you know that. Do you know what it is to be outside in the cold?
In the cold.
Do you know how expensive housing in Canada is? My own is make sure that you have good plans. And Nigerians can only accommodate you for this much.
And please take time.
Take time.
In a hurry. Sometimes these processes take 18 months, 2 years, 2 years.
The legit way.
If you really want to go legitimately, please adhere to the time frame. It also gives you time to prepare yourself as well. And do your research. I'm big
on this research because there was a story that I was training on a blog one time. One of my friends, his name is Bojack, he went there. And to be honest, working 3 jobs here is not working 3 jobs there. Is totally different. So I think he was working 4 jobs. He had a friend who was doing the same thing. Is he elderly care? What do they call it? Caregivers. And then the lady fell down. It was trending on blogs. The lady, it was bathing her and then she fell down. She didn't sustain any physical injury, and then 3 days later she was dead. The guy is still serving time. Yes, he's still serving time for manslaughter.
If he didn't stay for Coco, they go to his bank job.
I'm honestly big on this. If it's something you cannot do,
I keep telling people, no, look at us on the table. Look at the amount of education on this table. So now I immigrate, and I'm doing it illegally. And all of us have to do care jobs. See our bougie baby. Somebody that is mentally, because for me,
you know what,
I can't do that.
When we first got there, my mom and my older sisters, they did care jobs.
They have to.
And sometimes I followed them to those care jobs. See, it's a story for another day. Sometimes I follow them to the care job. It's a story for another day.
Anyways, we need to go on a break. But when we come back, aside this Japa one that we have used to scare some people to think, that's what to mean that. Legitimately, command law. Yes, say. Anyway, we have another story that is going to bust your bubble this morning. Tessy Igomu, the deputy editor, Punch Weekend Times, shares her finding of our report, Sweet Poison, with us after the break. So stay with us because Fufu is about to change in your mouth.
Many Nigerians are starting to tread carefully when it comes to what they drink and the drugs they take. And we have NAFDAC to thank for that. But now it seems we need to be cautious about one of the staple swallows that has been saving lives since we can remember. Are you a fufu lover? Did you know that the beloved fufu could be harming you? One bite at a time. Today we're discussing a shocking food safety issue that could affect millions of Nigerians. An investigative report has uncovered how some local producers are mixing harmful chemicals like detergent, soda soap, and potash into fufu in a bid to maximize profits. Now, this revelation raises serious concerns about public health, food safety regulations, and consumer awareness. Joining us today is the reporter behind this expose, Tessy Igomu. She's the deputy editor, Punch Weekend Titles, and she's here to break down the findings of her report, the implications, and what can be done to protect consumers from this sweet poison. Tessy, welcome to Jasiri. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank
you
so
are
much.
very welcome. You know, when Tolu brought this subject, everyone was like, my fufu. Anyway, your article has actually caused quite a stir. You know, shedding light on how some fufu producers are using harmful chemicals like detergents and soda soap to speed up fermentation. What put you on the scent of this fufulized story?
Please don't let Catherine burn herself.
I think it comes more from personal experience. I have a son that likes swallow so much. He can't go 2 days without taking
Nigerian.
So, but I realize that sometimes when I buy, within 2-3 days, it changes color, and I'm like, what could this be? So I started with some research. Then I heard some people talking about the fact that there are areas where they have to speed up production to meet up with demand. And I said, but this is scary. And I also heard about the things they put into it. First, I had to stop my son from eating first.
Of course, definitely.
Then I tried to go undercover to Ilaro. And it took us, I think I stayed there for 2 days with one of my reporters, Sodiq Jurongbe. So, and we had to, you know, if you have to actually, you know, there's something with investigation. Sometimes when you go out, you don't actually break even.
Yeah.
So you just have to be very, 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 very patient. The first set of producers we saw claimed not to know what we were
Anything
saying.
about it.
So, but we had to stay, you know, we took our time, we kept digging, and we came across a volunteer, or would I say a fixer. That's the balance we use for investigation. So, and the guy was like, no, please, we will show you, it's happening. So he was like, what are you going to give to me and all of that? We said, okay, let us be sure that this is true first, then we'll talk about that. And there we were able to meet with the owner, I mean, the main person at the heart of the fufu production and in the heart of that town. The woman claimed not to know nothing. So maybe we finished, one of the women called us, she said, we are doing it here. I said, what is it that you're doing? He said, they are using detergent, the popular detergent, there's one very popular one, you know, due to don't call their names. Then bleach, you know. Then they use this. There's this local soap, kongi soap.
Okay, so you just say bleach and you move on. I need us to go bleach. The bleach that we use to clean bathrooms, whiten
your clothes and all of that.
The strong one.
Yes.
Is being poured into the water
After what they do is after peeling, they have this very giant vats like that. So they put them right in there. Pour the bleach, put detergent, some even put alum. So depending on how fast they want it to ferment, and this thing can ferment within just a day.
But it's supposed to be how long traditionally?
Between 3 to 6 days, maximum probably even 1 week. It's a process. It's not something that happens. But because you have lorries coming in, you have
the demand
is just very, very, very high. So you have a lot of people coming in. They're already waiting to carry, you know, to go away with their supplies. So you have them within, probably they soak in the morning, based on what the lady said. If they soak in the morning, by evening, it has softened, and they start the process.
All right. So
it's scary though. It's very scary to even think that this is what people ingest. and it's quite scary.
But they showed you the process to make fufu the right way, Sha?
They did. The first one who claimed to be the leader of the fufu producing this community, showed us the way it ought to be produced.
Share it with us.
She said, once it is harvested, that same day, you have to peel them, have them washed, they're put into those giant containers, and use either hot or semi-hot water to soak it. Then you cover with a black polythene bag.
Okay.
So you leave it. So within 3 days, you don't open. So 3 days, you put on a protection glove or something and dip your hand to be able to show that it's as fermented or
so you don't even put anything?
Nothing. On a normal day, you know, it's not meant to be, nothing is meant to be added.
You just allow it to sit.
The natural.
What is the difference between 1 day and 3 days? Why the rush for, why are we
demand?
Because the demand is much, and two, also, it's also driven by hunger, poverty, because a lot of people cannot, I think the most, the cheapest thing to buy right now is fufu.
Wait, how much is fufu?
Well, the other one is small like this.
It's filling.
It's filling.
It's filling.
So given the economic circumstances of many people now, to eat fufu, eat 2 wraps at 200 naira, one a day, once a day is better.
Eating a Bible will digest quicker.
Gari now is so expensive. A pint of Gari is like
3,000.
Coming from the same cassava.
I'm sure that they're not doing the same thing to Garina.
On some level, nobody knows. You know, we keep on covering. We keep on covering, and we don't know where we're going to discover when it comes to Gary very soon. But I think that's another project.
We like Gary too much. I ate Gary last night. Let me tell you, after I saw the story, we bought fufu last week. And I was looking at the fufu. I was shaping it. I was in my head. I was just, because I've been talking to Tessy for like 2 weeks. Well, I'm just like, hey.
I went to the market on Friday. I bought fufu. Now, I carried one whole, I sacrificed the 200 naira fufu. I put it in water to try and, because we knew we were working on this, to try and see further. If it is detergent, will I see something?
It will not.
It will not, because before they
smell it. So that's my question. Is it because of how, what's the word? The fact that it's not obvious that it has gone on for this long? Is it that nobody has ever noticed?
Because it's not obvious. You know, most of these things, they do it on their cover, and they do it because they feel nobody's going to investigate, nobody's interested. The regulatory agencies are practically doing nothing. Even since the reports came out, and we've been expecting NAFJAC or to pick it up, and nothing has been done.
So they have not reached out to you?
Nothing. Nobody has reached out to me, even to my organization, you know, that I work for, or we've not even heard that, okay, they've gone to Ilaro to raid, not even check, to even raid. You know, nothing has been done.
You can imagine that this is not only in Ilaro, it probably would have been.
It's widespread.
It's widespread.
It's actually widespread.
So how I think that's one of the questions. How widespread do you think it is? Because in reading the report, you mentioned Ilaro, but I think there are 2 other towns not too far away from Ilaro that sort of make up what would I say, like a basket or a chain of fufu production, who are probably feeding a lot of Lagosians. See, we see the fufu, we don't even know where the fufu is coming from.
Yes. But Ilaro is the heart of it. That is the major hub for fufu production, or for the paste.
Yes.
So you see, when you get there, you see lorries from the north, from different parts of the country. They are lined up.
Is it an everyday thing that they're coming to pick? Because I want to think about this in terms of a production chain.
That is why the production has to be distinct.
So why can't you be harvesting every day and soaking every day? So you are sort of at the edge of the chain.
I think a lot of people should clarify, because sometimes maybe when we're talking, people will be thinking of the end product. We're talking about fufu in its flour state now. This is when they are trying to get it to the flour state that even some people might not know. Even the one that is bagged in stores. Not the fufu that Catherine bought in the market that is already cooked.
Yes.
We're talking about it, the powder form. Because most of the time people buy it in powder form. People hardly buy fufu, finished fufu. They buy it in either paste.
But at the base of it, it's still coming from these
places. Let them know, because some people that might be listening might be thinking, Tessy is talking about fufu that they've made. They're talking about it in the state that is the raw state that gets to the one everybody buys. Because many people say, oh, thank God, I buy my fufu from stores and it's bad.
Let's hold the buy of fufu from stores. We're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation in terms of the dangerous additives that are making their way into our very popular fufu. Stay with us.
I think it's time for me to go on an indefinite fast, because clearly everything I've eaten is harming me.
It's out to kill you.
Especially
we're still speaking to Tessy Igomu, the journalist behind an expose into how some people are now preparing a beloved staple in Nigeria, fufu. Tessy, now we understand the regular production of it, how fufu is made. Let's look at the one where producers are adding all manner of things. You mentioned something now. We're not going to go into that because it's still in the works. But what are the main reasons that you have talked about the fact that they need to speed up the production time and all? Why do you think that this has continued?
Is it just greed? She doesn't want to. Is it just greed?
Because I'm beyond,
I think beyond greed. They don't care. That is how.
Do they eat it themselves? That's a good question.
None of them ever said or even mentioned the fact that they consume these things. But trust me, I'm sure they don't consume them because they know how dangerous these additives are. Okay, or probably what they think is are preservatives, you know. But they don't. I don't think they consume them.
Meanwhile, they'll be in church on Sunday.
They don't consume them.
They'll be at the
I am
mosque.
even wondering that how do these people get this wisdom? Is it that there are private chemists that or chemical chemists that experiment and tell them how to do these things? Because it's a bit over my head.
So just think one day you
what
work.
let's try this, whether it will work. Let's try this, whether it will work. I think it's more like trial and error.
Yes, but first of all, wouldn't I think of maybe lemon juice? Maybe won't I think of maybe
one particular chemical or one particular product to the other? You know, they just keep moving. There's nothing they don't use. They said they also use cow something. They use cow, the potash. Yeah.
And there's
they also use
lapa.
They also use beans. The normal edible beans. They also soak with beans also. So I don't know.
Is it not the same beans that we heard that they spray with sniper?
Sniper and all of that, you know, harmful pesticides.
Part of what you did in the article also shared, I think, a story from, I'm not sure, I can't get the year, a young man who spoke about the fact that his friend was going into surgery because he had eaten fufu the night before. And when you think about it in terms of how many people are working, food poisoning is such a common issue these days. Yeah. We get food poisoning. People are talking about, I have digestive issues, my stomach is just unsettled. You don't think to the fufu. You don't often think to the vegetable, even the one you buy. So there was a time, I think I told you guys, I was reacting to something. Yes. I was, every time I would eat, my face, my face would swell, my lip would swell. I'm very sensitive. And they're now asking me, I'm like, it's the same thing I've been cooking. They say, even if down to the vegetable that I said, I cook for myself in my house. They say, even down to the vegetable I'm buying in the market, I don't know what they're spraying on it. My body could be reacting to the leftovers.
And even beyond the allergies, you know, a lot of people are coming down with kidney diseases.
Cancers.
Children, teenagers. You know, initially or years back, we used to refer to most of these non-communicable diseases. You know, we say it's only for adults, for the elderly. But now you now find, children with cancer, 10 years, coming down with kidney failures. You go to centers where they carry out dialysis, number of people on dialysis and all of that. And, you know, over time, studies have also linked most of these things to, these non-communicable diseases, especially kidney, issues. But then the problem is, nobody is doing nothing about it because once the story breaks, it simmers. Everybody just goes back.
When you said that you had not heard from any regulatory agency, I'm quite shocked at that because we know that there was a lot. Let's take the reactions. There are a number of reactions to your story when it broke in terms of how people were reacting. Let's look at those reactions. One of my favorite local delicacies, and I just got food poisoning from it last week. It's scary how your life can turn upside down because of the unchecked actions of businessmen. Where are our regulating agencies? It's a question. When there is poverty and ravaging hunger in the land, this is the end result. I don't like to blame poverty for everything. I've said it countless times. No, I don't. I've said it countless times. Nigerians don't love each other. We never do. It's easy to endanger another without blinking twice. Sad. What else do we have? The Christians among them all go to church and do thanksgiving for profits made. The Muslims among them will thank Allah for good profits made. In the end, the consumers are slowly dying while these criminals continue to see themselves as the righteous ones that deserve heaven. I want to say a code, whatever you take. Now, wow, so people cannot eat fufu, akpu in peace again. At least if I don't have money, let me eat fufu now.
It's not like because it's a staple.
Food processing requires a lot of inputs. Even in advanced countries, many additives are used during food processing. This is why governmental agencies are established to monitor and control use of the additives and chemicals in the processing of food.
Yeah, I agree.
Many Nigerians are gone 6 feet below, unknown to them that the cause of their death was food and fluid intake processed in Nigeria. There is nothing. This is nothing short of slow, deliberate genocide. These wicked, soulless merchants of death lace our daily food with poison, all in the name of profits. They are no different from mass murderers, and they should be treated as such. Mixing detergent, bleach, and toxic chemicals into fufu is a calculated act of evil. These criminals know exactly what they're doing, yet they proceed with no regard for human life. We need an iron-fisted approach to commercial food production. Any producer caught adulterating food with harmful substances should face nothing less than life imprisonment and in extreme cases, the death penalty. There is no justification for knowingly endangering millions of lives. Raids, arrests, and public trials must become the norm until every last one of these killers is wiped out of the system. And someone says, I've been saying this for years, and that's why I process my own fufu from scratch.
I think that's the way to go right now.
So that's I want to believe that the big players who recently discovered.
We'll come back.
So the problem is that people are, look at Lagos, for example. It's not everybody that has the time to process
exactly.
how to. Everybody's looking for a quick fix. Someone will just make egusi in bulk and then buy fufu like 20 of it to eat the whole week. So it's like you're leaving them with no option. So it's either I reduce my work time, which is almost impossible. In Lagos, for example, work is 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. What time do you have to process your own food?
But Nigerians right now, they are saying either we all die and I die. Sorry to say that. They just have to make do with it. You know, because it's crazy. But the thing now is we just have to find a way to go back to personally processing or producing what we can eat.
So the thing is, but let's be honest, with fufu, it was never a personal, it's always been people who sell it and people buy it. That's been the traditional way of taking
cassava to process by yourself into gari. Another thing I am concerned about is that every food production company abroad goes through some stringent production processes. And I know that the Standard Organization of Nigeria, let's say that the NAFDAC is doing it, maybe because they are focusing on fake drugs. Somebody is even showing them that there's fake food. And I know that this is not the first time we are hearing about adulterating of food. We have heard of the sniper on grains and legumes. We have heard of stuffed fish. We've heard of all sorts of
so many, and people still even say God forbid. People don't accept that.
Another thing I want to
denial,
ask
actually.
It could actually be ignorance. You know,
on those producers.
Let's assume we don't think it's ignorance, because at a point I had to put a question across to one of these, and I was like, but these things, you know, they are not meant to be ingested, but they're like, people need to eat.
Who needs to eat them?
They need to eat. I mean, we need to eat that. Maybe they actually thought that, oh, by the time we finish, we'll wash it and everything will be okay.
My own question is that, so as we usually do in Nigeria, everyone's a mini government unto themselves. You have to check and balance for yourself, for your family. Now, how does the average Nigerian know how to identify adulterated fufu? Is there a way?
There's no way to identify it.
No, my sister,
but the thing there is this, what I have discovered over time is that most of these adulterated fufu, you know, when you buy fufu, you don't put it like in the fridge or whatever. You put it on the table. Within 2 days, it's meant to start going mold. But these fufu, you buy them, they don't get spoiled. They can stay on the shelf for like 2 weeks.
But by that time, you've eaten some of it.
So when I start buying fufu ahead. to see
to see how I waste money. Oh God,
it's a hard call, honestly.
The only thing
because I know that I bought fufu and I put it on top of. There's a nice bowl. I like to see how the fufu is. You know, you layer your fufu and it looks nice.
You did a fufu pyramid.
One of those your afang soup.
Oh, my sister. So I just put it on top of the fridge and I've left it there because I like to see how it looks. And now I'm thinking about it that the closest that's the thing, the closest to seeing it there with it beginning to sweat a bit and becoming a bit not moldy, but just a bit dry. Tell me that.
I think for me, with what I've seen, a good fufu within 2 days should have started going still because since it's not there's no preservative.
Yes, and it's not in island.
So by the time you now buy for 1 week, it's still there. The same thing with bread. That's umbrella you buy 1 week, 2 weeks. You've not started seeing mold.
Some of these people selling
the production or processing.
Had it before, had it for like 4 days. I didn't know, and then I went to buy it, hoping that in 2 days it should. So already they've had it for a while, and I didn't know. I'm just measuring the 2 days from when I bought it. Isn't that?
I don't like this your calculation. I don't like this. It stresses your calculation.
I'm even thinking. Let's even look at it from another angle. This craze for entrepreneurship. Everybody now is an entrepreneur. Everybody is producing food, and most of the small-scale businesses are usually food businesses like producing or packaging into smaller quantities some of these things, and with high yields, and everybody wants to buy from the cheapest, wants to produce from the cheapest place and buy and sell exorbitantly. Don't you think that is where some of these problems engender from? Maybe because some of these businesses, nobody, I know that I tried to do spice business some years ago. By the time you hear some of the funny things that they say they do, I wanted to register with NAFDAC. I didn't end up doing it because I wanted everything to be properly done. If I don't have a factory, why would I go and hire somebody's factory? People tell me, oh, you can use somebody's address. They'll come and inspect that place and they'll give you your certification. And when you hear all these things, don't you think it gives some of these people impetus to do these things?
Tessy, hold the answer to that question. We're going on a quick break. When we come back, we'll get that answer and also take a look at a clip from the report. Stay with us.
Thank you very much for staying tuned to us on Jasiri this beautiful day. And it's been an expose on the show today. And we still have Tessy Igomu. Yes, I thought I knew it. With us, telling us more about the article that she wrote about how some producers are adulterating your beloved staple fufu. Just before that break, we were asking that, do you think this craze for entrepreneurship, where everybody had become mini food processing companies to themselves, because everywhere, NAFDAC, Standard Organization of Nigeria, they are supposed to be some kind of regulation. Even to ingested food, they are supposed to test it. That means to be sure. Remember what they said there was this drink that was killing people last year? This soya bean drink, tiger nut kunu, or is it that tiger nut milk that they said was actually... Some of these agencies are supposed to take samples of this food and test them before they get into the market.
The case for entrepreneurship, actually, everybody wants to be a master of their own. And it's so easy in this climate because, sincerely, we have regulatory agencies that are actually not doing nothing. They are more of a word of the mouth, less in action, and so they go more after the big companies, big producers, and all of that. So it now leaves a loophole for these people that thrive, that want to maximize profit at the detriment of the lives of people. And sincerely, how many do you want to arrest?
Just stop arresting the ones that you can see. It will give the others.
But then, even if they go there today to raid, they are going to make so much noise about it and all of that. It ends there.
Are you saying that tomorrow the next group of people will just appear and say
that these people, they are so stubborn, they are so resilient. They don't
resilient to be killing people and harming people.
They will still go back. They will just still find a way, or they will relocate.
That's somewhere else.
But the thing there is this: I think enough is not being done, and I think NAFDAC, SON, they need to double
their efforts.
They need to double their effort. They should go into this, the nook and crannies of these communities. You have, even in Lagos, I'm sure this is happening, but until we are able to stumble on them, I don't know if you understand. But they might have had information or are aware that this is happening somewhere, but they are reluctant to raid those places. They are reluctant to make arrests.
Why would you say that?
Let's take a clip from, because as much it's a report, there's also a video that accompanies it. Let's take a look at a clip from it. Talking about detergents, a leaf, bottle gel leaf, beans.
At least even, but all those natural.
And then we heard, of course, we talked about the soda soap. And if many people may not know, soda soap is very caustic. It's very caustic to the skin.
If you use it for your hands will start. I remember when our mother used to give us.
It's almost like an acid.
Yes.
It's really.
And I think, so when I was reading the report, what they say is that it doesn't matter because they rinse it off.
Yes.
But meanwhile, because it's the compound that was used to soften the cassava,
so that you can't get it off. How do you get it off?
It will bind itself
when you marinate chicken to put in the oven.
It will marinate.
So you're marinating the fufu, you're marinating the cassava for us people.
But you know another thing that I'm beginning to worry. You see, many of these small-scale producers, by now, do you want to say that this country, we should not have a big agro production company that they can employ big machines that can do some of these processes.
No one is touching anything.
That nobody is even peeling in this generation. People are still staying to peel potato cassava with hand.
Mine is the solution.
They're not interested in such investments. They are not interested.
I am. Bring money. I will start a production company.
But the way it is going, you keep saying no. It's not poverty. It's not poverty. See, hunger, poverty, there are factors that are intervening.
But I don't like using them as blanket justification.
Don't even see it as wickedness.
Sincerely, you just cannot. They need to feed. Even they need to feed.
So when they kill off all the customers, who's going to buy the product?
They might not even know the extent to which what they are doing. That's why I was telling you, ignorance. Look at this woman that is sitting for hours peeling cassava, and she wait 5 days to let it ferment when she can do it in 1 day and make money.
She's not ignorant of the risks that are involved. She's not ignorant because when asked, said people need to eat.
People need to eat.
They are not ignorant. The only thing is they want to make money.
Fast.
So Tessy,
and they want to meet demands. So because most people cannot afford healthy meals anymore. So the one that is available that can fill their tummy is what they want.
And I know somebody's watching us and they have fufu in front of them.
They would.
So we have to go, but we can't tell them. But Tessy is working on some other things. So some other things that you're buying.
Tessy is, take it from me. I speak from the heart of Tessy will be seated right here.
I will cover her with the blood of Jesus.
Yes.
Because investigative reporting cannot be easy.
They don't like this kind of thing.
It's not the best they used to.
And sincerely, my company actually invests so much in all of this.
It's a lot.
At the heart of it is huge investment. Actually.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You'll be back to break more hearts. When it comes to a favorite snack, we'll leave it at that for now.
So that brings us to the end of this important convo, guys. The alarming reality of food adulteration in the country is one that affects all of us, from the unsuspecting consumer to the policymakers responsible for regulation. The fact that some local producers are mixing harmful substances like detergent and soda soap into fufu just to maximize profit is a wake-up call for stricter enforcement and greater awareness. As we step away from this discussion today, let's remember that food is meant to nourish, not harm. It's meant, and it's time for consumers to demand better, for regulators to take decisive action, and for ethical producers to set the standard. All of us, whether we like it or not, have a role to play in ensuring that what we eat is safe. From making your own fufu in your backyard or buying fufu wherever it is you buy, please. So join the conversation online, share your thoughts, and let's push for accountability. Until tomorrow, stay informed, stay vigilant. Please stay stiff. Stay stiff.
You need to be stiff, so it's always
You need to be stiff like the way that fufu for 4 days, Abi.